Welcome everyone to the Return to the Knicks podcast. Tonight's we have a roundtable discussion. Are the Knicks really serious about trading Julius Randle or filling offers? And we have some breaking news, but we'll get to it. We'll run the introduction. Season greetings to everyone. Welcome to Return to the Knicks podcast on the BX Sports Jedi Network. Let's get it. Good evening, everyone. This is BX Sports Jedi Kev with my partner A to Z from A to Z Media, Zach. Welcome to the Return of the Knicks podcast, tonight's program. We hope everyone's doing well this holiday season. Season greetings to everyone. But before we go further, we have breaking news. Breaking news for those that are watching us and did not hear the breaking news. The New York Knicks has released that Derrick Rose went under ankle surgery and he's out for 6 weeks at least and get reevaluated. Wow, what a blow for the New York Knicks. It's just what goes wrong could go wrong. Hold on. Wait, guys, 1 minute. Antoine has something to say.
From the start, now you can see Antoine Griezmann.
English, Antoine. English under pressure.
I love Derrick Rose.
That's a very valid.
And we love Derrick Rose as well. Z, good evening. We'll start with the breaking news this evening on the program. What's your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are, again, Derrick Rose is just his career. He's always injured. You feel bad for him as the person first and foremost. He's just starting to get it right again. He last season he was pretty durable. This season he's been missing some games, but he's been more durable than he was in his Chicago days, and then he has another setback. You just hope the guy can at least have a durable end to his career, and hopefully he recovers quickly and can come back and doesn't have any side effects. But and as far as the team goes, just another one. It's like DJ Khaled out here, just another one. It's just sad. It's sad. This season is supposed to turn out a lot different than what it is right now, man. And it's sad. But on a more positive note, salute to the chat, salute to you. Excited for this podcast tonight. We got a lot of great topics, and let's get it.
Absolutely. We'll start off to more devastating news. Let's get that out of the way first before we got a lot of different subjects and topic. Noel this morning is out on the COVID list as well. Further, will not play tomorrow night against the Wizards, and we'll see how long the severity of that COVID list, if he's going to continue to test negative or whatever the case is. Say health and safety protocols around the league of rash. When I mean a rash of players on the COVID list, you're even the NBA is actually dusting off the players like Joe Johnson at 40, an opportunity on a 10-day contract with the Celtics. Luka Doncic out with Trey, Burke. The list keeps going on and on. Every day goes by, more and more players seem to fall on this list. But on a positive note, Obi Toppin has been cleared to rejoin the team. So look for him probably to be activated tomorrow night. So the return of Obi Toppin possibility going into the starting lineup, or not the starting lineup, but to the roster. His high energy to see how he comes back and see if there's any effect on that as well, Z.
And you might have cut the bell a little bit too much, but one of our topics, he might be the starting lineup here soon. You never know, but first of all, one of my favorite players watching for a long time, ISO Joe. It's going to be fun in such a weird season with a lot of people out to see a guy like ISO Joe at 40 years old, see what he's still got. If you follow him at all, he's in tremendous shape, and he will always be able to score the basketball. So it should be fun to watch him play with the team that drafted him 10th overall in the Boston Celtics. So good for him. Sad for Nerlens Noel. The guy can't stay healthy. Is what it is. And we'll see what Obi Toppin looks like coming back after a really nice game before the protocols hit.
Right, because I think he might have been inactive all that time, close to 10 days without no basketball. Well, I know he wasn't able to be around the team facility. I am assuming, I could be wrong. And let's see if he's gonna. Of course, he's gonna have some rust. Hopefully, not too much. But when you have athleticism and speed, and the way he plays hustle, I think that's something is like second nature. But maybe he'll have on a short fuse, fatigue wise, stamina wise. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see on how many minutes he returns back from the lineup. But before we get on to our next topic with the Obi Toppin returning and the starting lineups, we just wanted to rehash a little bit about yesterday night, the Knicks 105-91 victory against the Detroit Pistons to improve to 14-17. Winner of the last two out of three games here. We know we're going to see the upcoming schedule coming up. That's one of our many topics that we're going to touch tonight. And last night's game, we saw good, bad, and a little indifferent. Z, what would you like to elaborate? The good, the bad, or the different?
Well, the good was there was a little bit of chemistry building. You saw the way Kemba and Mitch and Randle and those guys, and Evan Fournier, they finally all had good games. As far as Randle didn't have the best game, but he had a good enough game, if that makes sense. They all had spurts where they played well together. The bad was and I call it the ugly as a coach, was the fundamental execution on the offensive glass. On the defensive glass, just rebounding in general was terrible. They were letting wide open people get rebounds. They weren't putting a body on anybody. The indifferent, it's the energy. And I said it last week. We both talked about Julius Randle's shortcomings this season. I said it like when he was so dejected at the end of the game and didn't even want to talk to Tibbs the last time out there. And now there's trade talks, with Julius Randle. So it's just, that's the indifferent, the unknown for me, for what's going to happen to this team. But overall, and also indifferent, it was the Pistons. We should have beaten them the way we did. So, does it translate over the next 5 to 10 games is the real worry for me as well.
Right. And with that said, reports came out of Ian Begley. He tweeted, and the Knicks front office, the Knicks are considering moving Julius Randle for a star. Either this trading deadline, but you know what? It's out there. The chum, and for those that are a fishing savant who has fish, who knows how to fish, when you go fishing and you don't get any bites, or it seems quiet, you're fishing for a while, you chum the water. You chum is you throw, dead, you throw rumors out, you throw, in this case, you throw a little bit of food, either pieces of your bait fish with blood or whatever, to see if you attract more fishes on, and you throw your hook and you throw to see which fish bites, and you're hoping for the bigger fish in the area that you're fishing at bites. So could it be that the beat writers or beat writers for the team, or maybe behind the scenes, they know something, maybe agents, so forth, giving this information to the beat writers so they could throw the chum out to see if they're one way, or they could just be making it up to see if someone big enough will bite, maybe in the reaction of the front office to deny it, or the way not deny it, or the way the body language of, or who said that, or defensive, or whatever the case is. The chum is in the water with the Randle talk, and also the observation, the eye test. You saw it last night. You mentioned it on the watch along here. So we do those that are listening to us and going to listen to us on the podcast audio version, anywhere you get your podcasts, in Apple, Google, Reason FM, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, all the platform, all your favorite audio platform locations, as well as here as YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, everywhere that we can see us, and we're streaming live to simultaneously. You mentioned it. We do the watch along, play-by-play, live watch along, play-by-play on our network. And you mentioned his body language, and especially that a couple times when they wrote that the when he's Thibodeau's out with the chalkboard writing out the plays, he's not engaged, and even looking, he's not paying attention, and the body language and his rolling of the eyes, and it's a little bit of a concern, Zach.
It's more than a little bit for me. When your best player Even Kemba, because, let's say Kemba for an example, a guy who's been benched by Tibbs, a guy who there's been rumors that he's not on the same page as Tibbs, that he might be traded. He was even smiling. He was engaged. He was listening to what Tibbs was saying. The whole team was. And then it's like Tibbs had to smack Julius on his backside and get his attention. Julius kind of gave him a little, turned his shoulder just a little bit. And just kind of shrugged him off and rolled his eyes. And if your best player does that, because I know we have shortcomings with Julius, but he is the best player on this team, hands down. And when your best player does stuff like that, that's toxic, man. That's toxic for the whole team. That's toxic for Coach Tibbs to lose the locker room. It starts with him, and it's definitely not a good sight. Definitely not a good sight.
Now, it leads me to ask this question to yourself and anyone in the chat who wants to write it, or anyone listening to us on the podcast. You could always write to us. I'm back on BX. It's bxjedi76@gmail.com. If you're listening to us on the platform, the audio platform, and you don't agree or agree or your thoughts, you could email me, right? Join us on the YouTube chat. We are an audience participation program, so don't be a spectator. Come on in, write in the chat, say hello, ask your questions. And I know you like to use our content, so go ahead, grab it and just say hello. That's all we ask. And then back to what I was saying with Julius Randle and Thibodeau. Now, could it be Kemba? It ties in with this Kemba Walker fiasco. It's not a fiasco but they are winning games with Kemba. There are 11-10, despite the record isn't that sexy, but the Knicks are 11-10, one game over 500 with a Kemba Walker in the lineup. And we saw what they were without Kemba Walker in the lineup. They weren't really good. They were struggling. They got players out of place. Now, could it be that Thibodeau being loyal to Julius Randle, because that's what Thibodeau, when he goes to his location, he finds a player and he really is a player's coach. He backs his players we saw it with Rose. You saw it wherever he goes, he backs his players. Now, Thibodeau came to the New York Knicks last year. You know what we all the Knicks were when he got to this organization? They were a laughing stock, no culture, all that narrative.
Right.
Julius Randle helped Tom Thibodeau advance his program and building his program last year so much that to a fourth seed, despite a gentleman's sweep in the playoffs, he helped them get there and helped them set his program up and establish a winning culture, winning atmosphere in that locker room and with the players on board.
Right.
Thibodeau felt, you know what? This man went out his way, changed. And let's face it, guys. Randle did change his game last year. That wasn't the same Randle we seen year in, year out. That was a whole different Julius Randle, playing different, out of his world. And we credit him. Maybe he bought into Thibodeau's system. He bought in, he played, and he helped set the culture, the narrative, and the direction of the team trending upward, stock up. Now, Thibodeau this year, he's going to be loyal to Randle because he helped them develop and helped them get on got him coach of the year by buying into the system.
Yep.
So now you bring in a new guy from the street because you don't let go of the bird line in your hand for two in the bush. You have Randle as your star. You bring in two new guys in Fournier and Kemba. Of course, he's going to be loyal to Julius Randle. Randle's the guy that got you to the dance. You don't get rid of the person that got you to the dance. So my point is, when Kemba struggled, it was easier for Coach Thibodeau. I'm going to sit Kemba because he's the newer guy, because I know what I got already from Randle last year and hoping I could get that again. I don't know what Kemba could bring me. He's not, like you said, degenerative knee injury, and can't play back to back, but Julius is there night in, night out. And I think that might have been to a fault why Thibodeau benched Kemba and sided more towards Randle. And I'm not saying there's a division, but you can see where I'm going with that, Z. I'll let you get in there. I talk too much.
No. It's your platform, man. We all, and that's a good thing about this platform. And before I answer this question, chat, like and subscribe, tap the bell, all those things. Share with your friends, because obviously your friends have stuff in common with you. They would like this content too. The Knicks fans, Combat fans, everything Bronx covers. Just share it. It's worth a share. And we let everybody have their opinion and all that stuff and get off what they got to get off. But as far as I don't blame Tibbs for doing what he's doing, for sticking with Julius, because Julius is most improved player, second team All NBA. I know he's not a top 10 player in the league, but by second team All NBA, he was a top 10 player last year. You know, by the numbers, by the voters and all that good stuff. He was one of the huge reasons why Tom Thibodeau won Coach of the Year. He bought it, but the difference, you see the difference in that, Kev. Last year, Julius believed in it. Julius gave 150% of his attention and his work and his drive and his determination to Tom Thibodeau and to that system and to the rest of the coaching staff. You know, let's not discredit the other coaches too. When you buy in and you're a player as talented as he is and you do exactly what you're asked to do, you're going to have great results. You know, Tibbs and Randle, let's just say Tibbs and Randle took Reggie Bullock, Elfrid Payton, Nerlens Noel, and R.J. Barrett to the playoffs, man, as a 4th seed. And to your point, Tibbs is going to stick with that guy, and that's not a problem. That's being loyal to a fault, and that's backing the guys that backed you. Just like he backs Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson in their whole careers. Why? Because they've been perfect players for him. I mean, Tibbs is going to be the best man. Was the best man at Derrick Rose's wedding. Like Tibbs rides hard for the people that ride hard for him, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a player's. People say he's not a player's coach. That's the player's coach aspect of him. He's being a player's coach right now and backing up Julius. And, I don't think he wanted Kemba. You can't tell me he wanted a 5'11" point guard that can't play any defense. You know, Kemba's a straight up baller. He can score the basketball. We saw that against the Pistons. He can score any which way you need to. He can pass. He can do all those things. But if you're scoring the points you're scoring and you're giving up 5 or 10 more points than you're scoring on the defensive end of the floor, what are you doing? You know, what's your value? And Julius is really – the whole team on defense has really taken steps back on sharing the ball. Even though they were dead last in the league in turnovers and pace last year, they still shared the ball more than they do this year. As far as people got more touches on the offense, I'm not saying they had more assists, but there was more ball movement and touching of the basketball. And it just doesn't look pretty this year at all. You know, you got a guy in Julius who pounds the air out of the ball, and he almost needs a supporting cast like he had last year to be successful. You know what I mean? That guys that aren't going to demand the ball in their hands. And these guys, Evan Fournier and R.J. Barrett, of course, and Kemba Walker, need the ball in their hands to be successful too. You can't have 3 to 4 guys that need the ball in their hands to be successful unless they're superstars, to where there's no egos like, you know, LeBron, Dwayne, and Wade and Chris Bosh all need the ball in their hands to be successful, but they were all superstars. They understood that they're not going to get all the shots, you know, and they respect the other guys. You know, Evan Fournier is a streaky shooter. Kemba Walker is on the backside of his career. R.J. Barrett's young. Julius and them, they're going to have problems deferring because he knows they're not his caliber yet. So it's going to be, you know, it's tough. But at the same time, his attitude needs to change. He needs to trust his teammates more, Kev.
He has to trust his teammates more. But back to Thibodeau not wanting Kemba Walker. Personally, and I say it again, and I stand by it. Kemba Walker fell on the New York Knicks' lap. My reason being is the free agency started. All the free agents, point guards went off the board. And I know we're going back in history, going back and rehashing. They went through the draft. Remember, he was let go from OKC. Mm-hmm. Bought out.
Really,
Knicks bought him in here. Too. Right. And they bought him here. And the reason the Knicks saw a vision where it would have worked, the reason why is you have two centers, monster centers that play phenomenal defense. You know, captains of your defense were Mitchell Robinson and Noel last year. You know, before Mitchell Robinson foot injury, and Noel, the way he just came out and played captain on the defense, phenomenal interior defense.
Right.
They say, you know what? We need a point guard, seriously, because Payton, we know what happened with Alfred Payton. No offense. It was an upgrade. And granted, it was an upgrade, but they didn't anticipate the regression on the centers, and Mitchell Robinson health wise didn't, for some reason. Now he's starting to get his niche a little better. But we'll speak about that in a moment. Noel can't pepper mache. I call him pepper mache when he's not playing, and Butterfingers pepper mache can't stay on the floor. Something with him. Is something sore? Something's injured. Yesterday he left. He had something in his eye. Now this morning he has COVID. It's like a bucket of bad luck when it comes to Butterfingers, and they didn't anticipate that. They anticipated strong center defense, rim protection, and they didn't get it. Now, when you bring a Kemba Walker in here, which we're not known that doesn't defend well, at best 6 foot, 6'1", being respectful of what the NBA measurements say it is. Right, we could debate that. And you brought in Evan Fournier also that doesn't play up to par defensively, not known for his defensive calling card. Now you have 2/5 of your starting unit that were going to be a downgrade on defensive area, but you didn't anticipate your center or your power forward to take a step defensively. Kevin T. Jones in the building. Salute.
Part of the chat, part of the mod police.
Yes, indeed. So I'm glad to see him here tonight with us. So with that said, this is what has some of the struggles on the defensive end, the same defensive tendency. Although last night I did enjoy the fact that you saw Campbell Walker and Mitchell Robinson enjoying playing defense, having fun out there on the floor, making defensive stops, rotating, and it showed, and then it translated over to the offense, the alley-oop, the assist, the two-man game between them going forward. Now that we heard the breaking news that there won't be no Derrick Rose for at least a minimum of 6 weeks, minimum, and they're going to reevaluate him. You could talking about more than maybe he might talking about maybe the ending of the 10 games before the playoffs, if they make the playoffs or playing. Yeah. And that's a big blow, Z.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on something you said before I touch on that.
Yes.
Rose. It's not just Mitch and Noel. It's a ripple effect. And when it's a ripple effect, when your perimeter players can't stop the ball, can't stop the other perimeter players from breaking down the defense, if that is what the Knicks thought, that Mitch and Noel would take up for it, I guarantee you Thibodeau was not consulted, because any defensive-minded coach, any coach in general, whether you're defensive-minded or not, and this, everybody knows this, defense, just like offense or any part of sport, is played on a string. Your whole team's got to be on a string together. And when you are playing defense, you have help responsibility, you have certain other responsibility, gap responsibility, you have different things. And when, for example, let's say at the top of the key of the three-point line, if Kemba lets someone break down the defense, and someone gets by Kemba, kicks it out to a three-point shooter, the three-point shooter then pump fakes, the wing goes right by him, and then it comes in from the corner, drives to the basket, and then Noel or Mitch has to help and protect the rim. Someone backdoor cuts right to him, and then, why didn't Mitch stop him? Well, because there's levels to it. Salute G Money and, of course, Calvin and everybody else. It's a ripple effect. If your perimeter guys can't stop the ball, your defense is collapsed and done. Whether you're giving up alley-oops, open shooters, backdoor cuts, it ripples. And one thing Alfred Payton and Reggie Bullock were really good at was perimeter defense, not letting the guards collapse the paint, not letting the other guards collapse the defense and kick out the open shooters. I mean, you remember Reggie Bullock won a game against your hometown Orlando Magic from literally stealing a ball. And he scored a basket on the other team. He made a terrible offensive mistake, but at the same time, he made up for it with defense. Defense can blanket a lot of things. And if you have a good defense, you might not have a good offense, but you'll win games in the regular season. And we don't have that. We need guys that are good perimeter defenders to allow Mitch and Noel to play within themselves and not have a bigger responsibility on the defense that really nobody can handle.
Right. And you mentioned that excellent. To my next point with last night's game, the Knicks are now winners of 2 out of the last 3. Yep. Now the question is, are they trending the right direction? Stack up. Captain Obvious will say, of course they won 2 out of the last 3. What are you talking about? And last night they did a lot of good things against the Pistons, especially Mitchell Robinson with 17 points, but there wasn't a center, 6'9", no taller than 6'9" on the floor. Mitchell Robinson abused and won. Now they're catching a small break, I believe. No Clint Capella for the Christmas game if it gets played tomorrow night. They got the Wizards. Robin Lopez. We'll see if Robin Lopez will play tomorrow night for Washington. Or no, he's not on. He's in Orlando. Excuse me, he's not in Washington. My apologies.
He moves around so much.
He moves around. Yeah, he was there last year. That's right, and I should have known that because I saw him in preseason.
Almost forget he was a Knick.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A good journeyman center that moves around and tradable. But I don't think there's when you think of Washington, you don't think of them having a center threat that, Mitchell Robinson, again, last year, he before getting injured, right? That was the last time he played was against the Wizards. He was having a phenomenal game. Maybe something that ignites him, seeing that the Wizards uniform, unlocks something of Mitchell Robinson. Now, the point is this a fluke, or are the Knicks have an opportunity to get right and start climbing out right now? And I'll put the standings on right underneath under the ticker. Right now they're 12th, and they're not far from actually doing some damage, climbing out of that 12th. In a good run, they have a couple of good games ahead of themselves. They got the Wizards, the Atlanta Hawks. They play the Detroit Pistons again, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've got games that they have their talent to really make some noise. See?
Yeah, they got the talent. They're getting the right people back. Getting a spark plug in Obi Toppin. I call him a spark plug because he gives a lot of energy and just one dunk in the garden can give you motivation, and the whole team can play off that momentum and get on a run. You have all sorts of different things that could go our way, and they couldn't. They could not. The Wizards are a good team. All these teams that you said are winnable games, but at the same time, they're winnable for them too. Very winnable for the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Wizards to beat us. I want to see after the Wizards game and to see whether it's a fluke or not. Because right now, we beat the Houston Rockets barely. Looked really bad against them too. We had a really nice comeback. Ended up falling up short against Boston, who had Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, two of the top 15 players, 20 players in this game. They're really good. They're studs. But we're also missing Al Horford, Dennis Schroeder. We're missing some of their key players. And then, you beat the 5-24 Pistons. I'm 50-50 on it. I'm split. Part of me wants to say, yeah, it's a fluke, of course. They barely beat anybody. They haven't beat anybody worthwhile. But the other part of me wants to say, okay, well, yeah, they beat nobody in Houston, but they still didn't look good. And then they went to the Celtics, who are a better, more talented team than us, and they look better. And then the Pistons, whether we play a good or a bad team, we still don't look good on certain assets of the game, certain aspects. And we looked really good in certain aspects that we normally struggle with against the Pistons. We upped the pace a little bit. We picked and we choose our spots to be aggressive with the pace, be aggressive with sharing the ball, attacking the rim. Julius picked his spots where he looked aggressive to get his shot off. Our bench did enough. I mean, we're so ravaged with injury. Our bench did enough, but we got guys coming back. So if we can continue this energy that we had in the Piston game and just a style of play, I think we could maybe go 1 or 2 games above 500. Hey, Maria, how's it going? Salute to you, of course, and one of the Jedi's biggest fans. And if we can keep that energy and that aspect going while getting these other players back, and the chemistry gets better, and Julius's attitude, these attitude problems go away that so clearly they haven't been really talked about, but they're there. If you see it, it's obvious. If we can get past all that stuff, we can make a run, be a couple games above 500 in this 10-game stretch, and make a vie for that 7th seed, maybe 6th seed.
I agree with you. Like I always say, one possession at a time, one quarter, one half, one game at a time, and then you look back. You win those baby steps, you win those small goals. Then you look back and say, "Oh wow, we build we're 4 games over." Stuff like that. Wizards are playing well, but they've been struggling as well. They've been having issues as well. There's no Kate Taylor's Pope won't play tomorrow night. I'll find out what players are not, because every day it changes roster wise, who gets on the COVID list, who doesn't. We shall see it. They probably hey, they need it as much as possible. Catch a break when catching teams with the COVID restriction. No Capella, no Gallinari, no Trey Young. That'd be great.
KCP will be out due to protocols.
Yeah, that I knew that, but I don't know who else is on there. Bertans or and there's gonna be another test for the New York Knickerbockers against a really good point guard, Spencer Dinwiddie. See that what we saw last night, Zach, that we've been saying was an issue for the New York Knicks was the 1 and the 5, the point guard and the center position. And last night they got good play out of the 1 and the 5. And when the Knicks get good play out of the 1 and the 5, they're competitive, they're in games, and there's not a big disparity because they competent. We don't need. Yes, we will love an all-star opponent, but an all-star performance, but not every night from the 1 and the 5. But we need a 1 and a 5. Uncle Fulio, if you would like to join us, man, we would like to hear your thoughts on the Derrick Rose injury. And what does this mean for Kemba going forward? I know that you always have a controversial take, and I always enjoy them anyway, by the way. So if you're more than welcome on, you join us, chop it up. We're talking about Julius Randle. We want to also bring up the organization wants to talk about feeling trades out, throwing chum in the water for Julius Randle, a possible trade for a superstar or just a trade. What is that? Is that a sign of panic? I would love to hear your thoughts. Unless you want to do it on your program, that's no problem. We'll bring in our partner, G Money. G Money,
what's shaking and baking, homies? What's going on?
Cracking and lacking.
How's it going, man? How you been?
Great. You?
Good. Is Santa bringing you coal, or is he bringing you gifts this year?
Man, beautiful gifts. Awesome.
He's giving you coal for being a Suns fan. Trick question.
Well, Monty Williams is trying to help bring me gifts come June, hopefully.
Oh, get out of here. Where's this Knicks podcast? I'm just giving.
I know.
So we're talking about tonight the narrative here with this upcoming schedule for the New York Knicks, how it ties in with health and safety protocols. Obi Toppin will be back, and not looking to. We as fans could look ahead. Us as fans, we could look ahead and get giddy about we win, loss. This team does not have the luxury or the talent to do that. They have to continue working hard.
Can I make one point before G Money goes? I want everybody to think about this. So last year we had the mantra, the Big 15, right? And I know last year was hindsight's 2020, totally different team. But last year was a perfect team for Tibbs and perfect team for Julius Randle, like we were talking about when you were listening, G Money. Yeah. And what is Tibbs' message? And this is what makes Tibbs such a great regular season coach and playoff. I mean, he's been to the Eastern Conference Finals, won a championship as an assistant, putting together the system. Doc Rivers will give him credit for that and controlling the egos and all that. He's a better coach he gets credit for. His mantra is 1 quarter at a time, 1 half at a time, 1 game at a time. Max effort. Whoever's out there, I don't care if I play you 50 minutes or 2 minutes. Get max effort. If you don't, I'll take you out and someone else will. That message has been bought by all of his teams, right? Has been bought, and that's why they're so good in the regular season. Last year, he was really good, and that was really good. This year, they have players on this team that can't give it every night. Kemba Walker can't give it 100%. Evan Fournier doesn't. Julius Randle seems to be losing the message a little bit. You can tell the effort's not there at times.
True.
Derrick Rose can't really anymore. Nothing against these guys. It's injuries. But do you guys think that the fact that this team isn't like last year, there's a little too many egos, I think, because they all need the ball in their hands to be successful, like I said earlier with Fournier and Kemba and all these guys. Do you feel like they're giving it 110% every night?
No.
It doesn't look like it.
Instead of looking ahead, which we can as fans, like you said, Kev, we can, but they need to go back to basics. Let's win this quarter.
Right.
Like, damn the whole game, like right now. Just let's win this quarter. And then to the next one. You know what I'm saying? They need to have that attitude, and if they do, I think they'll be successful over these next 10 games. No matter who they play, they just have to have that mentality, and they'll be successful record-wise, I think.
Just remember, these guys, about 4 out of the 5 were alpha dogs. Julius last year, Fournier to extent with Team France. You know, Kemba Walker in his heyday. You know, other than R.J. Barrett,
with Charlotte,
with Charlotte, but 3 out of the 5 starters learn how to be alpha dogs, and those are the ones that we have any issues right now. These guys got to learn how to fit in and defer, but also being assertive, and they're just finding themselves. G Money, go ahead, G Money. Isaac, salute, Isaac.
Salute. You're right. We just need, like Zach made a good point, we just need to just play with passion and need to play together. Last year's team had so much continuity, and they were not scared to fail. Last year's team was willing to go for it all. This year's team, I just think that there's too many inconsistencies. I mean, look, I'm happy we beat the Pistons, but Zach is right. It wasn't convincing. Yeah, I'm happy we beat the Pistons, but it wasn't convincing. It took us Mitchell Robinson to take over the game on both sides of the ball for us to even get out of that game. We need to learn to value possessions. We just need to value possessions, do more dribble handoffs, and do more lobs, to mention stuff. We need to have continuity and determination if we want to go far. And I think the problem with the Knicks, at times we overlook our teams too much. We got to stick with the team we're playing now and don't overlook your opponents. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat. The Wizards, look, the Wizards are playing hard. Even though they've cooled off as late, they're playing hard. But this is kind of winnable if we come out with the right mentality. The Hawks, like it says, virtually everyone is in protocol for Atlanta. On Christmas Day, we haven't won a home Christmas game since 2011. So that's another winnable game. Minnesota, that's a 50-50 game for me. Minnesota,
winnable.
Winnable, still winnable, but still a tough game. The Wolves have Russell and Cat, and remember, Edwards is in protocol, so that's pretty winnable there. But the Thunder is winnable to win the Pistons. So what I'm trying to say is that the Knicks have to beat the teams they're supposed to be. Rebound, get to the line, make your free throws, find the open man, and play to your strengths. Don't let the crowd, let the fans give you the energy. Feed off the crowd. Don't try to do things you're not accustomed of doing. And if you fibs, I mean, this is for everybody, the players, the coach, everyone here. If you fibs, continue to make the right adjustments. If you're the players, play to your strengths, man. Don't try to be somebody that you're not, and just, no excuses. I'm tired of, I was sick. If you're sick, don't play. If you're hurt, don't play. As long as you're on the court, I'm going to judge you. Don't give me excuses. Everyone is hurt. Everyone is tired.
Well, at the same point, what you said something that was very important. That was go back to what I said. You said value every possession. And that's what's going to turn this around as far as even against good teams. You value every possession. You try to win every possession. Like it sounds redundant. But every possession, every quarter, every half, every game, if you have that mindset, then you end up, even if you get a gentleman sweep in the first round last year, they were fighting till the absolute last second, which means that's why the Knicks fans had given a standing ovation at the Garden, because that team fought. We could have been down 40 against Milwaukee or up 50 against Charlotte, whatever the case. But they're playing the same way, if that makes sense. They're playing with the same intensity and effort. It's almost that simple, because they say, how do you improve on the defensive end of the floor, Kev, in the NBA? What do they say? It's energy, effort, and the want to. And if you value every possession on offense or defense, then guess what? You're going to want to make stops. You're going to want to do all these things. And it might not be a huge improvement, but it'll be enough of improvement to maybe win some basketball games.
Right.
And like you said, G Money, I want to. This is not my quote. This quote comes from KNICKS 100 AGM, our president GM. He said, the game is when you have a matchup, exploit the matchup and continue the mismatch. And that was said by KNICKS 100 GM. All credit to his take, and I'm just rehashing it when we spoke. And that was a great point on him, and I agree with it. And if the Knicks have a mismatch, like you said, it took Mitchell Robinson to bail us out, but that was the mismatch. Mitchell Robinson played someone under 6'10", and he dominated. That's what a good point. And you saw Kemba Walker fed him with the lob, and kept going to him because he recognized the mismatch.
Yeah.
And that's what, kudos to our resident GM. Thank you so much, GM 108. We appreciate that comment, and it's true. That's why we're climbing for a point guard when they see a mismatch and recognize it, feed that player the ball. It doesn't always have to be Randle. Randle doesn't always have to have the mismatch on the court because he gets doubled. Exploit the mismatch and attack if you're the New York Knicks.
Right. And also, like I said, like I said before, we have to play to our strengths. Don't try to do things you're not accustomed to doing. When RJ comes back, get a mid-range shot. I know you can hit the corner three, you can drive. Get a mid-range shot if you're RJ Barrett. If you Julius Randle post up in the block, I know he likes hitting the fadeaway and he can hit threes, but post up in the low post, high post, pinch post. And like we said, run the game last night with Detroit, feed Mitch the ball, get him some lobs and dunks, bounce passing if we want to win. And Obi gives us the energy he's been giving us. Quickly, don't settle too many for outside shots. Use your floater game more. Even hit some mid-range shots if you can be quickly. And just, think. Kemba Walker, do your thing. Fournier, just, be consistent. That's how we can win games. Fifth, make the right adjustments. And, we just have to win games. And let's dive for loose balls. Last year's team dove for a lot of loose balls. Got blocked shots. And like what Zach said, we were hustling 48 minutes last year. Last year's team gave it their all for 48 minutes. This year's team's becoming inconsistent, but last year's team gave it their all 48 minutes every single game, every single night in the playoffs, in the regular season last year. And like I said, they had so much joy last year. Last year's team, had so much energy. They were willing. They were willing to go on the court, dancing, prancing. They took everything seriously. Yeah. This year's team has kind of been streaky. This team's been streaky too much. And you want to hear this, guys? We haven't had a winning streak since October. Think about this. Christmas is on Saturday, and we haven't had a winning streak since October. How's that possible? So it's
because you're a mediocre, inconsistent team. That's why. Because if you don't play consistency, you're not going to win consistently. That was my high school football coach actually used that. That was one of his state. If you don't play consistently, you're not going to win consistently. It's that simple. But like you guys said, when it comes to mismatches, a lot of this could be they think Julius Randle getting doubled is the mismatch. As far as if two guys are on you, someone's wide open. So if you get a double team, and if Julius gets a double and he passes out of it, that's a wide open shot. You follow what I'm saying? That's a mismatch, having a wide open guy.
Correct.
Julius's response to that is last year why it worked so well. As soon as the double came out of his hand, pass it right to G Money. As soon as I'm doubled, pass right to Kev. And this year it doesn't happen. He's trying to force it. He's trying to wait for the double team, which you can do if you're a really good ball handler and really good, crisp, clean passer, which he's not. He's an above average. He's a really above average passer for a power forward.
True.
He's a really above average dribbler for a guy who's 6'9", 260 pounds, but he doesn't have like Steph Curry or Kemba Walker, guys like that handles to get out of a double team. He can't. So you have to get it quickly. And as soon as you pass the ball, then if they didn't collapse on you enough, they end up collapsing back to the shooter. Then you keep kicking it and finding someone open.
And keep being the high end.
These guys, if they don't, if Julius holds onto the ball too long, he will cause turnovers because he's not good enough as far as with his ball handling and his passing to be able to get out of a double team like that.
Right. Salute to Jerome Peralta. Good Thursday morning, 10 a.m. in the Philippines. Salute to the Philippines. We love you guys. Salute you guys. I appreciate you guys' support to the Philippines. Jerome Peralta, everyone that joins us. Salute. I know Jerome Peralta is a huge Laker fan. So salute to you. Appreciate you coming on and saying hello. We can't wait to continue the baseball as well, but I appreciate him always checking in on our channel, no matter if it's the watch along, anything there. So thank you, Jerome. We appreciate you.
He could salute Jerome. You can actually relate to us having an inconsistent team that don't play no defense. So
yeah, we're like a roller coaster.
Sorry for your Lakers, man. I really thought they were. I was hoping they'd be better than what they are right now.
Let me ask you a question. Now the Knicks have to figure out life without Rose. What do you think is going to look like? More McBride? Now you have to play McBride, or do they look to
Kemba.
try to bring in continue Kemba with Burks?
Do I want McBride to get more burn so that, obviously the answer is McBride. For me, I want my Deuce McBride to get more minutes out there, to be able to fail, to be able to do things and learn. There's no reps like game reps. But if you're looking to win basketball games, yeah, you want the young energy and all that, but you also got to live with the mistakes, and they could be a lot being a rookie. You're going to have to find, if it's 5 minutes to 10 minutes a game for Kemba, just to have that steady veteran presence. I know he doesn't play defense. He shouldn't start. But you could find 5 to 10 minutes because we saw in the Pistons game, he's a good closer. And that was another thing that we needed on this team, Kev, was a closer. If you could put him in there in some closer minutes here and there to close out both halves, you got to find it. I see him getting some minutes back in the rotation as well.
Well, this with the injury of Derrick Rose is you kind of have to put Kemba Walker back in the rotation no matter what.
Choice.
You have to stay there. But the question is now, second unit. Do you now put Burks back in the second unit? And of course, RJ takes his Kemba. You go back with the same starting five you started the season with. Hear me out.
Okay.
And no Derrick Rose. So do you trust McBride along with, because you're gonna have the safety blanket in Alec Burks there, but you're gonna have to play McBride in the Derrick Rose kind of role, because he does what Derrick Rose kind of does. I know he doesn't have the experience and doesn't have the talent. Before I get the links and the arrows going my way. Yeah. But he still plays that high energy, slash into the basket. Mm-hmm. And Deuce McBride is not afraid of throwing the 3-point shot up. You've seen it. He's not afraid of it. He could create his own shot.
He can splash it too from downtown.
Right. Only thing is he got to get into sync and which he's shown in his first game. He had almost 9 assists. He could pass the ball around, find the open man. I think they're gonna have to play him in until a point guard that either get bought out or bought in. And now and what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that's a route that I would like to see myself personally?
Yeah,
I would, of course. And you also got 5 minutes for Grimes. Grimes and McBride have both shown that they can compete on the defensive end of the floor. That's number one priority for this team, improving this team, is competing on the defensive end of the floor with more urgency. 2, they know how to play with guys who need the ball. What I mean by that, Grimes multiple times brought the ball up, understood he had to feed Randle, but also was ready. And as soon as Randle would pass the ball back, that's when he would attack. That's when he would dribble and kick. He didn't just wait for Randle, if that makes sense. He didn't wait for the best player on the court to get the ball. He took matters into his own hands. But he didn't do it every time. He knew the feel. He has a good feel of the game. But Grimes does too, being a 3-and-D player who's not afraid. They're both fearless. And you compete on the defensive end of the floor. You're right about McBride 100%. I just don't know what it does to Quickley. I personally think Quickley should fall out of the rotation. As far as he doesn't compete on the defensive end of the floor, and he chucks a lot of bad shots.
Okay, I disagree a little with that because he contests a lot of shots. He may not be the defensive demon, but he's there, and he's been the best perimeter defender, though. But I can see your point.
I mean, he's best against Campbell Walker and Evan Fournier, and guy. I understand he competes on the defensive floor a little bit, but he makes a lot of mistakes. But what I'm saying is, you got McBride and Grimes who are both plus defenders, especially compared to Quickley. They take better shots.
True. And
they understand how to move the basketball a little bit better. I'm not saying fall out of rotation completely. I'm saying his minutes dip. I'm not saying sit him on the bench and park him. I'm saying takes some of his minutes. Even having games where he plays 30-plus minutes, he doesn't need to play that much. He's not ready for that yet. You can break that up and give him 10 to 15, McBride 10 to 15, and Grimes 10 to 15.
Mix up with your lineups.
And not so you don't have to play Burks 40 minutes and Quickley 30 minutes.
Right.
I'm not completely downing Quickley. I just meant
I know.
I'm more of a fan of Grimes and McBride and the way they play for this team.
Right. To me, it also kind of depends on the team. Do you think they should consider this? Do you think they should consider? I say consider RJ Barrett putting on the bench because he does well to say you don't think so?
I'm hearing a lot of that narrative. RJ the bench. And here's my analogy with that. When you go to wake up in the morning, when you squeeze the toothpaste out of the tube, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. He's already been there. It's going to be on his third year as a starter, and you want to put him on the bench. And the young man is progressively getting better. You can't tell that young man they're going to sit him on the bench.
Yeah, that would be disrespectful. Yeah,
you're going to lose him. You're going to lose the talent. So unless it's hard. They should have done that at the beginning of the year, maybe a little bit of last year. But now, at this point, you're going to put him on, and trust me, he will do really well with that unit. Don't get me wrong, he will, because high flying, quicking, moving with a lot of energy up and down the floor, and free flowing. Not here. Go to the corner and you get the ball in the corner. You got to hit the three. As soon as it gets there. But I think he'll be able to create and play much better. But you just cannot do it. What's your thoughts on that, Z?
Yeah, I complete agreement. But there's ways around it. What I mean by that is, what is the big deal about this? Put him on the bench, put him not. That has nothing to do with it in an NBA rotation. I mean, anybody who does that doesn't watch the game. No offense to people. I respect everybody's opinion, but look at this. You have Derrick Rose, who when healthy, plays off the bench, but closes with the starters, correct?
Mm.
You have Mitchell Robinson, who has gone from, see what it's done to him. This team's holding me back. This team won't let me play. Blah, blah, cry, 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 cry. He's in the lineup, starting lineup, and then on the bench. Starting lineup, bench. Starting lineup, bench. What has that done for his development?
Good point.
Also, you have RJ. It's not like we haven't seen him with the second unit. He gets minutes with both.
True.
He plays 30 on last year. He played what? 34, 35, 36 minutes a game he averaged.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not all with the starters, right?
Right.
You have to keep him in the starting lineup. To get him better, you have to give him I could see maybe a little bit more minutes with the Rat Pack. But at the same point, you need that time for him to develop as an off-the-ball 3-and-D type guy if he wants to play the small forward for this team. So you need him in that starting lineup for that reason. You want him to be able to play with another star. He's playing with Julius Randle, who's not a star, I don't think. And I don't think he's ever – RJ, I don't think RJ is ever going to be another star, but you have to – he has to get practice with deferring and all that stuff, which he's doing in the starting unit. But when he gets to that Rat Pack, that's when he develops his other things, his ball, putting the ball in his hands and letting him go. And you see that at times. The New Orleans Pelicans game. Remember that? His career so far, his season high, his best game. He played with the starters. He attacked when he was with the second unit. You don't need to put him on the bench to get that. You get that already. We can't pretend like he never plays with the second unit, G-Money.
I never said I did.
No. He asked if we consider that. Go ahead, G-Money.
That was my pass.
Yeah. I think you might have to start RJ because, like I said, RJ was fit nice in the starting five. And Alec Burks, let me see. Do you think we should start Burks over Fournier and put him at the 3? Because Burks is not a point guard. Anyone who says Burks is a point guard, I'm not going to – this is just me. I'm not disrespecting you as a person. This is just what I believe. If you said we should start Burks as a point guard, I'm not disrespecting you as a person. I would not respect that opinion. I would not, because Burks is a 3. He's not a 1.
G-Money, he's a 2. He's not even a 3. But the thing is,
he's a 2. Though.
They're putting him at the point guard for the starting lineup card. Julius Randle's playing the point guard. He's the one that offense runs through. So but I understand what you're saying.
I know.
With Burks now that there's no Derrick Rose and he's going to be out for a while, you have to have Burks return to the bench unit because they'll work fine together. You've seen he works. You need that veteran present there. I will not put Fournier in the bench because due to the fact of his contract, one. And if you want to showcase him and move him forward, off the team, how are you going to tell a team take this salary, this $54 million salary that we have committed for the next 3 years total, and they're gonna say, I'm not gonna give you much. I'm not taking that salary with that, for a guy that's coming off the bench. They gotta showcase these GM that this guy could play, that there is value. Some team will have a lot of value on a 3-and-D guy that could shoot. and they have to play him in the starting lineup. Unfortunately, that's a medicine that we have to take as Knicks fans, and we have to, swallow it but we just hope that he continues to have these type of impactful games like he did yesterday. And on the watch along, I was like, I can't wait when when is Fournier's going to take a short rest. He's on his way back, because Fournier, when he drives to the basket and he's aggressive, he tends to have good games. Trust me, he frustrates me. Yes, I nicknamed him Pepe Le Pew, because it sounds like he stinks, but when he's aggressive, he could be really, he could fit. Yeah, good G Money.
Yeah, right. Like you guys said, if for Evan, just attack the rack. When you get the open jumper, you can take it, but attack the rack, break through the teeth of the D, get yourself to the line, because Fournier can't hit free throws. Get yourself to the line. Don't just settle too much for the outside shot. What he did yesterday, even though he didn't shoot great, but what he did yesterday is he was attacking the rack. He hit some big-time threes, big-time mid-range shots to give us an advantage. We need to see that. Mix it up if you're having fun. Mix it up if you're funny. For Kemba, we don't expect you to be Charlotte Kemba. Just hit your mid-range, get guys involved, try to attack. Don't overkill yourself. Just do what you do if you're a Kemba Walker. But
Still trying to figure out what he does, though.
That's the thing. He's trying
to rediscover himself. You can't tell him to do what he does, because if he does what he does, he's going to try to be Charlotte Kemba. You know what I mean? He hasn't reinvented himself as a player yet, like a la Derrick Rose did, a la Alec Burks did after his injuries, being a top 10 draft pick, expected to be the star in Utah, never panned out. He reinvented himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Amari Stoudemire back in the day reinvented himself right before he was released. My favorite Knick. Kemba hasn't had time yet. It's not his fault. He hasn't had the time to reinvent his game.
True.
Let me ask you this: the time that he sat on the bench, well, was it like maybe 6 to 8 games?
9.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. It was 9 games.
9-game hiatus off the bench to watch. And I hate to do the analysis because there's two different sports. It's like when you have the young rookie quarterback and you bring in, you sit him down and let the veteran play a couple games, and then you bring him back to finish this season. Now, could it be that Thibodeau, by sitting or by benching Kemba Walker, he takes a minute to step back, watch the game from the sideline, see this is the team that's currently on the floor, and see where his game could fit. I see my teammates, they struggle here, this guy struggles there, and all right, now that I'm back in the rotation and back to play, I noticed the tendencies of some of these players, and work with them during practice. And now that he's in game time, because point guard is the floor general. That's their reputation. They're the floor generals. They see things, they attack, they tell where guys to go to, and they get theirs, and they elevate their teammates better. While him being on the sideline and seeing the game from the sideline, I think it's going to benefit him, because he sees where his teammates and where they play, how they function, especially when he plays with the younger guys, with his veteran leadership. Hey, try this, try that. You never know. In practice, he was nudging, helping. You've seen the Derrick Rose help these guys develop. Maybe Kemba Walker has something here left. Yeah. And my point is, this might be a blessing in disguise, having him sit back, take a step back, reinvent yourself. Okay, maybe I play like this with this current group on the floor. I think it's going to be a positive for the Knicks going forward.
Also humble him. Not saying he was never humble. He's a great guy from everything I've seen and read and heard. But also, too, what do they also call the point guard? An extension of the coach.
Correct.
And he never was around Tibbs, never was around a coach quite like Tibbs. So for him to also sit back, see how Tibbs really runs this team, see what he wants, to be able to, sit back and have that almost coming to Jesus type moment with him. I think it ended up after that fact, after they had that, after everything reaches boiling point, it's going as well as it could have, as far as him handling it, Tibbs handling it. And it's really shown that's helped him too, as far as he was out there directing guys, leading guys, talking to guys. Tibbs and him were high-fiving. It seems like it helped on all facets, Kev.
Right, G Money, what's your thoughts on that? And we knew that not just you, Johnny, we're hearing it from all over about benching RJ into the second unit. But I understand what you mean. They just play so much better with the second unit on that. But G Money, elaborate on that that point with the Kemba Walker situation.
Yeah, Kemba never had a coach like this that was hard. That was tough and wanting to win. His best coach around was what? James Borrego. It was I think it was James Borrego or Steve Clifford. That was his best coach.
Clifford. I think
Steve Clifford. In Charlotte when it was Jeremy Lin out, Jefferson, Nick Batum, Marvin Williams. Yeah, that team in 2016 when they won 48 games. That was his best team in Charlotte. Kemba never had a coach like Johnny Timon.
Big Bear.
Kemba Walker never had a hard-nosed head coach like Thibs in Charlotte. And I think Kemba and Z made a good point here. Kemba, even though I'm not trying to give him again, I'm going to be fair with Kemba. I'm going to be fair because he never had the time. But also at the same time, he started to adjust a little bit to this, though. So to me, Kemba never had a coach like Thibs, like what Z said.
Yep.
And because Steve Clifford was more of a soft head coach, not in your face type coach. Same thing with that was. So I think Kemba in New York, I think Thibs could discipline him a little bit though. And like you said, don't make him, even though Kemba's a humble guy, respectful guy. I respect Kemba as a person, I respect Kemba as a player, but I loved how Thibs is teaching him not to be overconfident. Don't try to be overconfident because Kemba, we're all flawed. Just, be yourself, get guys involved in the game. And then when I meant by saying to be yourself, I'm saying that when you see your team is struggling offensively, I'm saying that there's times you need to be aggressive. That's what I was trying to say, Z.
Right.
That there's times you need to be aggressive. I'm not saying be a shot jacker, but what I'm saying is that when you see RJ or Randle or Fournier ball enough for, try to attack the rack, get yourself to the line, get us involved offensively. I'm not asking him to drop 40. He's not going to do that anymore. But at least, give us,
you can choose your spots. Yeah.
Find your shooting spots. Give us 18 to 20, especially when we play against high level teams, because there's going to be games in which RJ might not have it or Randall might not have it or Fournier. So if you're Kemba, I know you just came here. I understand it. I understand he didn't have all the time, but at the same time, you have to adjust. It's 30. You have to adjust at some point because we can't keep going with all these, passes. I'm not expecting Kemba to be Charlotte Kemba, but just pick your spots. Hit the mid-range. Hit your three. Be assertive sometimes. Here's what Kemba should do. Get guys involved early. And then maybe later you can start take over the game. Because Kemba, he's not a great playmaker, but he can when he wants to be.
It's not even it's such a wild card because did I think Kemba was a good signing? No. Reason I thought that, and again, not Kemba, great basketball player. One of the best of this last 5 to 10 year little generation. One of the best point guards of his generation. You know what I mean? But it wasn't what we needed.
Right.
Sure.
So he's almost like, I'm a car guy. I'll take it to this. It's almost like you got 2 drag cars. You only drag race. You only take to the racetrack. You don't drive on the road. And your truck breaks down, so you go buy another drag car. Well, what am I going to drive to work? You know what I mean? They needed that nitty-gritty point guard, the guy that's going to defend. They needed an Elfrid Payton with a jump shot.
Yeah, they instead of getting a pickup truck, they needed a pickup truck to haul. They ended up buying another minivan. And
De'Aaron Fox would have been nice. That's still possible. I know we don't want to go into
I'm glad you broke that. That's one of our subjects tonight. With that said, a lot of rumors going around. De'Aaron Fox, the latest. Also, the Knicks linked to De'Aaron Fox. You also Ben Simmons. We also had, of course, Miles Turner. Now, my question is: before any of these trades go forward, due to the pandemic, the COVID list each day gets greater, larger, more names on. Our team's going to be reluctant to want to make any trades, before the trading deadline, or due to the fact that their rosters get depleted by guys getting sick, bringing in and out. It really showing now a testament on every organization, their depth and their scouting, and able to find players not just in the G League but in the street or in China or overseas. Out
of the nursing home?
Yeah, nursing home, out of YouTube. I'm surprised that one of these YouTubers get signed to come and play.
Coconuts.
Right.
The three of us are going to get a hardship contract next, boys.
We never know.
Hey.
We never know. Some of these guys that talk a big game, and they're gonna probably get signed up to say, "You like to talk a good game on behind the keyboard? Let's see you come on the court." You never know. So I'm just joking around with that, but you never know. But with that said, our team's gonna be reluctant to want to make trades, or move guys around, and because of the depth injury, you know, what's your thoughts, G Money, before we go to Z?
I think some teams will, but I think some teams might make a move now. If I were the Lakers, I'm making a move right now because the team has been. If I were the Lakers, but certain teams, I don't think will make a move. Certain teams, I think will.
Okay, Z, what's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's time. Things not Johnny timing, but it's all timing. When it comes to time, what I mean by that, Miles Turner, let's say we're thinking about him hard. We're thinking about him hard, right? The Knicks are, but they don't want to pull the trigger. They have Mitch, and they have Noel. Well, okay, all of a sudden Noel's hurt, so that just Mitch gets hurt, right? So we trade. We can only trade Noel for Turner, but Mitch. Sorry, not hurt. Protocol. Mitch is in protocol.
Noel's in protocol. Yeah,
Noel's
you're backwards, but I get you.
Sorry. Noel's I'm just using an example.
Got you.
So like Mitch is in protocol. That's who they wanted. They wanted Mitch for Turner. Well, we only have Noel. We can't trade Mitch right now. He's in protocol. We can't give you Mitch.
Yeah, right.
Well, okay, I'm going to trade him to the Lakers then. They got someone I want right now. You know what I mean? I don't got to wait 2 weeks. This could have a real big effect on things like that, G Money. Like if you have, if we wanted to trade G Money over to, a different YouTube channel or me to a different YouTube channel, I can't. I'm sick with the COVID. Well, they don't want anybody else. You know what I mean? There's certain things like, and then, if they finally agree to a trade and this guy and Miles Turner is in protocol there, well, the trade falls through. So then what? You know what I mean?
Right, because you can't get physicals, even if they're in protocols, because you won't be able to see the doctors, or you can't even get a healthy report. So that hampers that. I think it's going to be challenging, extremely challenging, extremely difficult for teams, because certain teams are going to want certain players. It's going to, like they said, it's get two or maybe three teams to tangle to make trades sometimes in the NBA. So the difficulty of the cap casualty and so forth, and with a lot of players uncertainty and COVID restriction, and some of these teams are either want to improve their team above 500 or just in the cusp of trying to make a play-in or whatever the case is, they might not want to be part of the dance to trade, because they're like, well, if I lose the one guy that might get me something, and these other guys coming sick with COVID or whatever the case, then my season goes into really bad spiral and into the tanking and bad. And some teams, some organizations can't afford it. David Griffin can't afford to have another tank because he's out as a GM, my opinion. Certain players like that, coaches, general managers, front office executives. So it's going to be interesting to see, going forward with
Another
activity.
Example, let's say, we all debated at length about Ben Simmons, but let's say they get a trade because the Julius Randle rumors about them trading him for a star. Let's say Philly calls us, we'll give you Ben Simmons, Seth Curry and a draft pick just theoretically. We'll give you Simmons, Seth, and a first rounder. You give us Toppin, RJ, you give us all these guys. You give them four of our kids that we love. Three draft picks. So you got it's just.
I know.
You got the team, and then these two guys come. So you got the bench, and then they get hit with protocols and other people. Then what are you going to do? You're going to sign the Harlem Globetrotters on a hardship? Like what are you going to do? And then you could lose 5 to 6 straight games because you don't got nobody to play. Then you're really out of the playoffs. And then what did you give up for? You know what I mean? Just for example.
And it could cost executives jobs. It could cost them executive jobs. So they're gonna, coaches. It could be life-changing organization maneuvers. Remember, the day that and it happens to any professional sport, the first day the head coach is or the manager is hired is the first day that he starts his clock of getting fired.
Yeah,
definitely not a longevity job.
Right, but
unless you're Greg Popovich.
True. And I remember, and again, I'm not trying to change the topic because we're talking about the Knicks, but like you said, Z, you still think the Spurs make the playoffs? I know we're talking about the Knicks, but I'll just ask you that, Z. You still think the Spurs make the playoffs this year?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't read. I've been researching the Knicks and everything and doing it for this podcast. I don't know.
Right. But back to New York. Do you think New York should consider trading for D'Angelo Russell?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think Houston. I mean, excuse me, Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota has interest. I think they want to keep. They want to keep their.
I never said we will. I said consider.
Right.
No.
Consider.
Not one bit. Because what does he do different? I mean, yeah, he has a little bit more size than Kemba. I'll give you that. Still plays
Ethan, salute Ethan. Ethan, how are you? Definitely welcome to the program. I hope you subscribe and like. And Ethan thinks I think the Knicks should go after small forward. Anyone in mind?
Norman
He
Powell,
said Cedi Osman,
Jeremy Grant. I don't.
Let me look at his number. Do you have his numbers? Cedi Osman I'm all ears to get his number as well as I look as well.
Cedi Osman is a double-digit scorer if he gets the minutes. He's a good shooter.
Yep.
Sneaky athletic. He doesn't look very athletic. You know, he's unassuming, but he has some athleticism to him. Not a very good defender.
Okay.
But he'd be a solid pickup as a guy off the bench scoring. And but to D'Angelo Russell, he plays no defense.
True.
He's a volume scorer.
True.
He's a quote unquote point guard that doesn't really get people involved. So we would have a taller, younger Kemba Walker.
And he gets hurt a lot.
Well, he doesn't. What issues does he solve?
That's a good point.
And what are you going to give up to get? I know everybody says that, and I hate that. But if you're giving up the defenders we do have at that position, the guys who can play a little bit of defense, then we're really screwed.
Right.
He's a great player, just not a great fit for this team.
I know. If John Wall didn't have the Achilles, I would have gone for John Wall. If he didn't have the Achilles, John Wall would have fit good with this team.
Even now, if you can get him when he's like Kev always says, if you can get him not at the salary he's making, but if he's bought out, why not take a flyer on him for the rest of the year?
Good point. Because Wall can still pass. He can still go to the. I mean, he can still go to the rack. He may not be as explosive as he was in Washington, but he's still
explosive.
He's still explosive, and he can. I mean, his jumper comes and goes, but his jumper's still decent. He can still shoot the ball a little bit though, and he's a good defender too. I'm considering John Wall, and this trade could happen. DeJounte Murray, it could happen though.
Don't do that.
With the Spurs?
Yeah, you won't get
don't get my hopes.
No. I don't think it'll happen. I wish my friend Randy will come out. He's when I mean diehard Spurs fan. They're not trading him. I've asked him that question. I've asked that question to him, and I wish it would come out of his mouth. He says they're not trading for him. And Cedi Osman is making $8.1 million for the season. He's shooting 41% from 3-point land this year, and is averaging 11 points a game. For serviceable player. The contract is a good player. I don't know if he's making that less money. Ethan, do you think the Cavaliers have any interest of moving him? You know, I understand Mobley is playing very well, and their depth on the floor. They have size.
They're not moving him. He's too good of a rotation.
You're trying to make the playoffs. If you're Cleveland, you're trying to make the playoffs.
You need shooting.
Right, Zach's right. You need shooting. If you're Cleveland, if you're the Cavs, Osman can help you hit big shots. I know they're struggling tonight with the Celtics, but we're talking about a team that's been one of the most surprised teams in the league. So if you're the Cavs, you want to keep your core. You don't want to trade your core.
And he's another 6'7" forward. You have Fournier in here, pretty much taking that same role. What do you guys think on that?
Chetty's a little bit more of a sneaky athleticism as far as length, wingspan.
Okay.
Defensive end of the floor. I think he has a longer wingspan than Evan, which helps in the defensive end of the floor. I'm not saying he's Dennis Rodman, but I'm saying
we know.
He's a little bit above that. And for DeJounte Murray, no, I would absolutely love him on
this team. Of course.
I would love him on this team, but it's not going to happen.
But yeah, don't get my hopes up.
But De'Aaron,
and
the right move. De'Aaron Fox, athletic,
no defense.
Good defense. De'Aaron Fox, sneaky like Swiper to Fox.
Yeah, he can steal, but there's a difference between stealing and actually playing fundamentally sound perimeter defense.
No, I know. I'm not saying he's a great defender. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Fox on this team would help because he can.
I'd love him on the team. Yeah,
me too. He's not a great shooter, but he's improving. He can hit free throws. He's athletic. He's underrated. Not great.
Young.
He's young.
Good size.
Good size, and he can pass. Like I said, he's a good
Can
playmaker.
get to the rack.
Get to the rack. And here's the thing: if you would have double team Randle and RJ, now you have a point guard that can stretch the floor. Because personally, for me, and again, I don't want to go into the whole Ben Simmons thing. I'm not, but my point is today's game. I don't want to go back to that, but I'm making a point for me. For me,
Go for it. Go for it.
I want 5 positions that can shoot the ball. I
But
can
you want
shoot.
DeJounte Murray, who is a horrible shooter.
I think he's like mediocre.
He's like a 20% for his career for the 3 line.
I mean that's
Worth
okay.
an 100.
I mean, true, but he could hit mid-range. DeJounte, he's not a great shooter. I'm not saying he's great. He can hit mid-range. DeJounte is perfect sometimes. I mean, I'm joking. I'm just playing with you. Yes, but I get what you're saying is that he's not a great shooter. But for me, we should go after De'Aaron Fox. I think our best bet is De'Aaron Fox. I would not trade too much to get him. I would not. Maybe you can get Fox and maybe Bagley or Barnes.
It's gonna, you can't. It got to fit it within the salary cap. I think Fox is making around $37 or $34 million in that range. So you're gonna have to include a Julius Randle in that package, or Fournier with some picks and someone in that $9 million, $10 million range. I think and usually it's hard when especially in a regular season to move 3-for-1 type of players. Those moves come in the offseason unless it's like a tit for tat, 2 players for 2 players, with rosters and so forth. Those are really extremely difficult to do it in the middle of the trading season. But you're gonna have to lose Randle. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to lose Randle because of the salary matchup, because that's why Bagley, what makes a little more sense. You could actually do it. Yes, Kazi.
No, I'm just waving bye to Julius Randle.
So Zach, you'll tell Julius, hey, we love you, bro. You've been big for us.
Just
have
bye.
fun, Sacktown. Have fun,
Just
Sacktown.
I was just adding on to Kev. Just bye.
So you won't just consider a thing about, I don't want to lose Julius. You just trade him? You won't consider it? What?
Sorry, Kev. Go ahead. I was just trying.
No problem. And that's unfortunately, if you're gonna bring a player that impactful with that money, when I mean impactful is because of the salary matchup. That's where and I don't know. Sacramento, if you're going to take Fox, they're going to want to attach Barnes, but then you're looking at almost $50 million on those 2 players, close to 50, a lot of their chunk to take both of those guys, and I don't think the Knicks got the salary matchup. The third team has got to get involved. You probably, we'll probably end up, I don't know. It gets messy, and with Fournier, of course, is going to be part of that. And that kind of messy and that kind of trade is going to be in an off-season type of deal. I don't see it in the middle of the trading deadline.
If it is off-season, still it works. I mean, Evan Fournier, Randle, and maybe Kemba on that 9.
And then you can attach multiple players. 4-for-1, 5-for-1, and because your rosters increase to 20, and then you make your cuts.
I would, but if you get Fox and Barnes for Fournier and Randle and Kemba, and then you might even in maybe a first-round pick swap from both teams, because you'd have to give us something for taking on Harrison Barnes' contract. Harrison Barnes is still a good player in this league.
I like Barnes. I would trade Barnes. I would trade Barnes for Randle straight up, and the salaries match. In my opinion, because you get a small forward here, you put him next to, but then you still got the Fournier issue. It's a little bit hairy situation, because you could put, if you was in a perfect world, if you move Fournier, and if you want to go Toppin, Barnes, Fox, Randle, and if you want to keep Mitchell Robinson or Miles Turner, that's the way to go. But it's not going to happen. This is just hypothetical, guys. Don't hold me to the fire with that though. But that's a lot of that's complex. That's a lot of moving. The cap. That's why I have capologists. The cap is not something easy to figure out. It's just hard. And kudos to Ethan, for giving us that real good segment there with the small forward situation. Any other players you'd like to see on our team? Ethan, shoot it out there. Shoot out the comments. We are an audience participation, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. And welcome to the Jedi family. Once you subscribe and join us on the chats and the watch along, we appreciate you, and we enjoy having new faces on as well as part of our family members that are here in the chat.
Right. What about? I would like Jeremy Grant. If Jeremy Grant didn't hurt his thumb, I would like Jeremy Grant. What do you guys think?
Even without
I think even with he hurt his thumb.
even without that, he's a really good player.
He's athletic, can shoot the three.
Give him your
Great
thumb,
defender.
G-Money.
Thumbs up, Grant.
Let
Get
me-
better, man.
Let me ask you, G, if you're Detroit and you're rebuilding and you're trying to extend and bring talent on, why would you get rid of Jeremy Grant? Though, salute Marlon Johnson.
If
Salute
I were
Marlon
Grant, I would
Johnson.
bounce like, hey, get me out of here. I want to bounce to a champion. I'm gonna, yo, give me. I got my bass pack. I want to
He's
go to
battling in New York for a championship.
either New York or I could go to the Valley of the Sun. Yo, can you get me out of here, please? Hey,
It all ends
Only
up with
back to your son.
Phoenix. Kelvin, you hear that, Kelvin?
Grant, come in, man. Here, man.
Hey, we need to do an Antoine thing where we dub Antoine's voice instead of "I love Derrick Rose." I love the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna put that like a good neighbor on that for you. Alice Coquito, salute, Alice Coquito, salute.
I would not be mad if we had Norman Powell. Norman Powell's the name out there. We could have gotten Norman Powell this
A lot of
offseason.
money.
He's a lot of money, and I personally I
For a
think he's
role
good.
player.
Don't get me wrong, but I think he's too short, my opinion.
He's a role player. He'd be a good 2 guard for us, but does that solve R.J. Barrett at the 3?
We need a small forward. We need a small forward already with some size, man. The
Yeah.
big mistake the New York Knicks, not a big mistake. One of the names that they didn't even look at in their radar. Probably wasn't the organization type of player, but what they need for size wise was Laurie Marketing.
I don't know, man. Lloyd Marketing. He can shoot. Can put the ball on the floor.
He's
They
tall.
need to go make a run in Kev's hometown and have Kev drive Jonathan Isaac up here. I know he's hurt, but once he's
True, but Laurie Marketing, I don't think the Cavs are gonna let him go. With them trying to fight for the playoffs.
No. They just got there. He just got signed there, and like you said, I'm just saying that type of body type and that height at the small
or
forward.
he was signed. He's saying that he should have.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that. I know. I'm just saying that personally, I don't see him leaving Cleveland right now. Knowing the fact that the Cavs are good young talent, I would like for him to come because he can stretch the floor.
Kev is saying Kev is saying before Cleveland, before he signed it.
Before Cleveland.
He's saying like hindsight 2020, it should have made a run at Laurie. Just like I said,
Right.
you know how long I've been saying Jonathan Isaac's name, but
Right.
Yes, and you like Jonathan Isaac
don't
as
take
well
that much.
there.
I'm an Antoine for Jonathan Isaac. He's a great player.
Mm-hmm.
I love Jonathan Isaac.
As the Atlanta Hawks are
23.
making a 7-point game here against my hometown Magic's 193 with 24.3 seconds. A little update, live update there.
Crazy. The
Say
fact
again?
the fact that they're losing to Orlando is crazy. And hey, Nugs are getting and Denver's getting thunderstruck and OKC down by 18 in the fourth quarter.
Give us some more updates on some scores while we hear live. We'll probably be another 25 to 30 minutes, or maybe less than that before we get off the stream. Give us some live updates, G Money. You'll do our 2020 play-by-play live update anchor tonight here. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. So let's see. Magic up on the Hawks right now by 8. The Bucks are walloping the Rockets by 19, 86-67. The Celtics about to snap the Cavs 6-game win streak up 109-97. The Thunder are blasting the Nugs 89-71 at home. And you got the Clips and the Kings in Sacktown at 10 o'clock. Clippers have lost 3 in a row. They've come down to earth a little bit. The Kings they came up with a tough loss to the Warriors. So the Clippers and Kings, you see that at 10. There's no Bulls Raptors game tonight due to the fact of, a shortage of players for Toronto. That game's postponed. So yeah, that's the updates. The Celtics are about to beat the Cavs. The Bucks walloping the Rockets. The Thunder, blasting the Nugs. And then the Magic about to beat the Hawks. And Atlanta's about to lose their 7th straight home game, I think.
You see that. So even the teams last year in the playoffs are a little struggling. I know the COVID issues and so forth. And I called it, and I remember you laughed at me when I said I don't think the Hawks make the playoffs this year.
Yes,
although
I
look
did.
at the, so I think I don't believe in Nathan Dillon, but that's no story for another day. But thank you for the update, G Money, with the update. And Mr. Davis wrote, remember, there was a time when Julius was on the bench and the team did well. Johnny, elaborate. Was it during this regular season or in the past? When he was, it was this season. This season we seen when sometimes when Randle takes a breather. Sometimes when the Rat Pack comes in, they do excel. They play a different style of basketball game that excites us.
To go on that, G Money, you're the encyclopedia that loves to correct me when I'm half a percentage point wrong on something. But I think they're like the Rat Pack's like +7 or +8
Around that, yeah.
as far as when they're in the game, and when Julius Randle and the starters. I want to be fair to Randle, but when Randle and the starters are in there, they're like -10.
True. Yeah.
So that shows right there who's where we're better. You know, when he's off the floor.
Because the Rat Pack gets us running, run, gets us to share the ball, like I said, to find the open man. The Rat Pack also, they play with teamwork. The Rat Pack also like to do driving kicks, like find Burke at the wing. They also like to do lobs to Mitch. Rose attacks the rack. I mean, we're going to lose Derrick Rose for a while due to the ankle injury, which we all know that. And also, Quickley in the Rat Pack like to shoot those long threes. But so that's the thing.
To be fair, Randle and the starters are also going against the top talent on the other team. So when you have the best bench in the league and you're going up against second unit, it's gonna be. But they do play better with Julius Randle off the floor.
I could agree to an extent on that one, but the Rat Pack do play against some of these teams' top talent because they go on these runs and they stay out there, especially the way Thibodeau substitutes, especially when it counts. The fourth quarter, the beginning of the fourth quarter, the closing of the third, they play against the other top teams and they still play with that high energy and plus on the floor.
I'm not saying they don't. I just meant for most of that sample size, they are going against the other team's second or third unit because they're being blown out. But they do play extremely well against the starters too. I'm not saying they don't. I just meant a lot of that is just a smaller sample size against the top competition. But they do play better with Julius off the floor. It's honesty. You got to be honest. You can't hide behind this most improved player facade. But you also do have to be honest to the point where it's the whole team. It's not just Julius's fault, even though
it's everyone. The coach, the players.
He's a huge problem.
Yeah, we shall see how it goes forward with Mr. Randle. Right now, if you ask me, 2021, a few days before the new year comes up, do I see a future with Julius Randle with the New York Knicks uniform? I said it since March last year. I said no. I had insights. I'm not going to reveal my sources. It's someone here in Orlando mentioned that the Knicks were not high on Julius Randle, and I mentioned that, and it's on different streams. Matter of fact, I'm going to say it because I know they listen to it anyway. I said it on Knicks Real Talk. The Knicks do not feel like they wanted Julius Randle on there. They had aspiration of moving him, trading him. They wanted the emergence of Obi Toppin. And I said it. I've been saying since March last year, and then I kept quiet. And I embraced that he's our all-star. I absolutely enjoyed having him winning the most valuable player. You want him to succeed, and you want him to change the narrative. And I was told by an executive that they didn't even feel like they were gonna remove they don't see a future with Randle. He's one of those players that will get you over the hump. To the promised land, and then he'll get traded. He's going to the type that won't take you to the promised land, viewed by an executive around the league, and it showed. And the proof is there. Wasn't even thought about to even come into participation and practice in Team USA. Having the phenomenal year he had, and the select team, they invited Obi Toppin quickly. They didn't even invite Randle as an alternative. They preferred bringing a Kevin Love who didn't play all last season in for him. What does that tell you?
It tells you that, and also the All-Star game, he was a consolation of All-Star. They didn't play him. No one at the game wanted to play with him.
Right. I mean, Julius Randle's good, but he's not a number one on a changer team. He's not.
He's our all-star. Sorry to cut you off, G Money. He's our all-star. And I don't want to seem like we're Debbie Downer or Lynch pinching him. We need. Yesterday he is the best player. He's the most talented player. When the Knicks step on against half of the league, 15 out of the 15 teams in the league, you could say he's one of the most talented player on the court with the gifted, but.
It's one thing if you are the most gifted player, and it's one thing if you play like it. And right now, he's not playing like he's the best player on the floor. Even if he's not on the best player on the floor, Kev, if he's going against someone better, if you notice when he has a marquee matchup against the Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis, he plays like he's the best player on the court.
He rises his game, and that's the enigma. That's the enigma of Julius Randle.
TV. He plays on national TV. I guess the New York should be on national TV for him to be consistent.
It's not even just that. It's against the players that he goes, like against LeBron. He was traded to clear up cap space. He was not let go of for LeBron. He's going to go at LeBron James and Anthony Davis. He's going to go at these guys. Kevin Durant. He was given a bad rap because Kevin Durant didn't go to the Knicks, and Stephen A. and all those guys. We got Julius Randle, so what? Right. So he's going to go up against him hard. You got to get that effort every game. It goes back to the same thing. You got to take it up every quarter at a time, 110%, and he doesn't.
And to your point, Z, it shows when this team they play down to the competition, and when it seems that there's no reason for Randle to get up for, it reflects on the team. They shouldn't be they shouldn't have not been in a dogfight with Detroit. No. Detroit had a lot of turnovers in the first half. They should have just kept, the foot on the throat. There's games like that. The Houston, when they're a lead, twice, and especially when you play a high caliber team that Julius has superior talent, that they say that they're more superior than Julius. Julius rises to the occasion, and you see the team play much greater, much maximum effort. And it starts, or like I said, it always starts with him. He sets the narrative because he's our bona fide all-star on the team, and he's gonna have to be more consistent with that. We saw that a lot last year because he wanted, and it's not because he wanted to get paid. Don't because he got paid. He said, right now because he got paid, don't care. No, I think
he showed effort last year.
Right, but
making $18 million, he was on a
right. He just got.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, Kev.
No, go ahead, G.
We also lost to Orlando twice. We barely got past New Orleans. We lost to Cleveland at the time when they weren't as good as they are now. We lost to Toronto twice. Yeah,
those kind of players that there is no player that the Orlando team twice. He's the better player on any of those currently right now as the roster and the year of players on the floor. Julius was the greater player in the Orlando series. In the Toronto Raptors, I think he's the better player than anyone on both rosters. The point is, when the rosters are when the Knicks and Randle is the greater player, they seem to play down a little to their play, and it frustrates us. I think it frustrates Thibodeau, and because we know that there's another level that we saw Julius Randle hit last year. Now we have almost 30 games already played. Now, when is it the chance to say he cannot return to that level again? And the patience are wearing thin. I'm thinking I'm like 25%. I don't think he could return to that level. I'm at 25%.
I'm higher than that because you sit there and what do we always say, and what have we said since day one of this season, Kev and G Money? And I've said it. I know you guys might have agreed, you might have not. You wait till around Christmas to evaluate what your team is and what your team's going to be. Just like they say in baseball, Kev, you wait till your first 200 at bats to say how your season's going to be. This is what we're going to see the rest of the season. We might get to the play-in, we might make the playoffs, but he's still going to be inconsistent. This team is still going to be inconsistent and be maddening at times.
It's just reality. And people like saying, we will see if it'll change. It's not going to change. It's reality. Personally, for me, guys, I understand we cannot predict the future for certain things, but for certain things, you kind of can. And right now, it's the future here. Right now, it's like, yes, I know people like saying, a trade, but even if you make a trade doesn't solve all your problems. And like what Zach said, I said this a million times before the season. The Eastern Conference got better. Cleveland got better. Washington's good. Atlanta's struggling right now, but I think they'll play better later in the season. Philly, they're pretty good. The East got better. So New York is like, we might be a little bit more inconsistent if we're just being a little bit honest. I think I think we could get to the play-in. The playoffs, I'm 50-50. I don't know.
Well, the play-in is considered the playoffs. It's like the wild card.
I know, but I'm saying like the playoffs. That's
For
what I'm saying.
series, you're talking about
It's a
series,
big
not
show.
just a one and done.
7-game series. That's what I'm saying.
Right. You don't think they get to a 7-game series. You think they'll play one and done. Maybe win one and have to win the next one in order to get in.
We're not far off because I think they're a lottery team, and if they get to the play-in and lose, then they're in the lottery.
Right, and you don't want to be in the play-in because the play-in is like a 1-game knockout. Tell it to the Warriors last year.
If they get it to the 10th seed and they lose the first game, guess what? They're a lottery team.
Yeah, they'll be watching the playoffs with us. Yeah. So.
Now, with that said, your thought is they're still a lottery team. You're thinking they're a play-in team. Not making the playoffs, possibly. I think that I personally, and I'm gonna be. I was thinking about. And I remember telling my wife, well, I don't think the Knicks are going to be pretty good this year. I think they're going to be on 40, 41, 45 win total. But when I see now, and I said 25-game sample, I know it doesn't look great. It looks bleaker. It looks, but when I seen the development of the kids, I'm seeing now that Derrick Rose is out, that's going to hurt us. Yes. I think I'm going to go on a different limb. I've got a good, and this is the first time I'm going to say it. I have a good feeling here. I think they're going to be better than they're going to turn. I think there's going to be like a turning moment. And I think it has to do with the COVID, who they play, take advantage of their schedule, not having the tough opponents with COVID restriction, not able to play and take advantage of that, getting guys healthy, racking up wins in finishing this year to start the new year. And I think come February, I think we're going to feel much better myself of this team. And I think they're going to peak a little bit good. And I think they're going to get close to that 45 win. I think they're going to get where I think they're going to be. And when we look back, like, wow, they had a little bit of a hiccup. And I think January, the new year, I think they're going to be much better. I think they're going to be more, like you said, they're going to be more quicker. They're going to be, more assertive I feel I'm having a good feeling. First time I'm feeling it, talking about it, and it's like a therapy session with you guys on the and it feels like, you know what, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about this team. And granted, it was the Pistons and so forth. And they go back and give us a terrible effort. It only takes 3 losses in a row to these terrible crummy teams in like the Pistons, Oklahoma, and Atlanta. You're like, Jedi. But I'm feeling, and you know what? I'm actually feeling good about this, upcoming. I think they're gonna get in right train of thought. I think Kemba Walker sitting down. I just thought, speaking about it and thinking about it and analyzing it, the game is like a rookie quarterback. The game needs to slow down, and no, Kemba doesn't need that, but he needed probably that to slow him down, to reassess, to refocus, to reboot. And I think it's going to help, guys. I have a good feeling for some reason.
And I can speak for G-Money and everybody else watching that we pray that you're right.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 because you can't go off by hypotheticals.
No, but you still want Jedi to be right. You still want this team to end up getting 45 wins.
No,
but the hypothetical is that the only hypothetical I'm basing it is they're going to play a lower echelons of competition now. That with this protocol, we can't change that, and the protocols, and it could turn around the Knicks too. Maybe after all this is done, they've already been hit by 7-8 players already. We haven't hit, and once we get the guys healthy back, if Randle becomes the last one to be on protocol, I think the Knicks team will be okay. We've seen the guys play well, and that's what I'm able to say. I feel good about the team because what they have talent coming in and what they drafted, what they have, and I think they're all right. They're okay. Yeah. They're going to be good teams. They're going to be surprising victories that we don't expect, like we saw, and we probably went through the losses that we did. We thought we ain't gonna lose, like the Orlando game. So, for every Orlando hiccups and Raptors and all there's going to be teams that we thought, why I don't think the Knicks had a chance.
We were going to lose to the Lakers,
right? Like, look at that, and we took care of them at home.
To win that game,
well, G-Money,
well, in the beginning of the season, nobody would have thought that. When all the free agents were being signed, we're like, "Ooh, the Knicks got to play the Lakers."
You can't say you don't go off hypotheticals when this whole season is a hypothetical because of COVID, because of guys being out. You can't sit there and say you thought at the beginning of the year that all these guys were going to be out for protocols. We could go into Golden State with Steph Curry and everybody on the protocol, and
but that's the word.
lights out.
Could. I get what you're saying, but that's the word could. It doesn't mean it will.
Okay, and
the Magic could make the playoffs.
There's still
but
50,
they're not.
There's still 50 games left in this season. Every single team has. Well, we could make the playoffs. We could do this. We could do that. There's no such thing as a sure thing with 50 games left in a season either way.
Right. I mean, it depends the team you have. I mean, I get what you're saying, but personally for me, it depends the team you have.
Really? Chris Paul couldn't get hurt tomorrow?
No, he could, but the word
but you're pretty much guaranteed to make the playoffs. You don't know that. You don't know they can make Chris Paul could get hurt.
Or the agent
or Devin Booker. So many things could happen.
Yeah, the word but is it going to happen? All right, Klay Thompson could be out the rest of the season, right?
I could win the lotto tomorrow if I go play the lotto. If I go put 6 numbers that are gonna win.
Bro, I can grow antlers from my head, fly to outer space, and come back. Doesn't mean I'm going to. I get what you guys are saying, but for me, for right now, I got.
You're being unrealistic with the answer.
I gotta be realistic.
You should have said the lotto.
I can't just be. I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards you.
No, we're joking. We're having fun with the lotto, but you should have said you could have won. You could have gotten a Porsche.
Chris Paul tearing his ACL tomorrow is more realistic than you growing in.
Oh no, I don't wish that on him though. No,
I'm not wishing it.
No. I know what you mean.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is that to me, yes, I'm not saying I can predict the future for everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for certain things. I say certain things that I can because I gotta look at reality. Because to me personally, you can't always go with the word could or will. It can. You could, but doesn't mean you're going to. Right. Like for example, Elfrid Payton could win the MVP this year, but he's not. You get what I'm saying? We gotta be honest.
Way different than what we're talking about. That's facetious to a different level. Okay, G Money.
My point I'm saying is that I do think the Knicks can win around 42, 43 games, but unless something were to happen, but I'm talking about right now, I say play in. I said around the play in.
You're entitled to your opinion. No one's taking that away from you.
40 to 42 wins, we can still end up in the play in. The East is deep.
That's my point.
Yeah, no, you're more than entitled and respect that. Definitely respect that point. With what you said with the East being stronger and playing. Is that a far-fetched analysis? No, absolutely not. That's what makes you G Money. You have your opinion with that. And the same way as Zach thinks that they might be a lottery team.
And if you are in the play-in and you lose, you could be the 7th seed. You'll be a lottery team.
Correct. You'll still be in a high lottery and with a chance to get a ping pong. You never know. You got the kids into the playoffs, the play in. They got the experience that it can. And leave that sour taste in their mouth. And Lady Luck could kiss you, and you end up with the first pick of the draft. You with the ping pongs, and you got a team that's. We need to retool, and they're going to retool with the first pick in the draft. It isn't in the world isn't that bad. We of course, as Knicks fans, we're not settling for that. I don't want to settle for that. But you always got to see things happen for a good reason. Yep. All things happen for a good reason, and we don't know what the good reason is. What Derrick Rose injury right now. I know it sucks. I miss Derrick. I'm gonna miss Derrick Rose on the floor. I think in short spurts, in 25-minute point a game, I think he's the best player on the Knicks in that short spurt on the floor. More talent and more plus minus experience and everything. And I totally love Derrick Rose.
Now you can see Antoine Griezmann.
I love Derrick Rose.
That's a very valid.
Thank you, Antoine. Antoine always string. Why does he do that? Man?
Why I got like that?
Yeah. So with that said, we shall see how this 20 Christmas is around the corner. We wanted to talk about the Christmas game. We keep an eye if it's going to be played or not. If it's on, I'll be here for the watch along. If it's not, then I'll just relax on Christmas Day. With that said, guys, the next few games, do you think? And let me put it up there. There's gonna be a last topic of the night, and let's find out where the games are. Here they are. You got Washington 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The next 10 games. What are you looking for the New York Knicks to be?
Let me see. Washington, I think we may
Give me a number. Give me a number
Give me a number
on
on
those.
that game.
Just a number because it's getting late. I just don't want to keep everyone this late. They have given us the time here for over an hour and 40 minutes, and I don't want to keep them up too long.
Okay. Let me bring up the schedule for myself because so I can watch.
It's on the ticker on the bottom if you could see it. But go ahead, bring it up if you like.
If I'll give mine if you don't. Well,
Yeah, go ahead. YG Money asserts himself. Yes.
I would love to see them go 7-3, but I think realistically we'll go 6-4 and we'll be on the right track.
Around that 6-4, 7-3. Don't be. I say around 6-4ish around there for me. Yeah.
And then that's good.
That's good. 7-3. I'm hoping 7-3. I'm shooting for 8-2 personally, but I think 7-3. I'll be okay with it. I would love them to be 8-2. You know, phenomenal will be a good record there. The only thing I can see a possible, though, you know, maybe Toronto game might be a little bit of an issue because it's at Toronto. You know, the Indiana Pacers. And the Celtics, they play the Celtics back to back, so it's a little difficult for them to win a back to back game against their opponent in the same, you know, back to back home and home, and it's kind of hard. It's like a playoff series, but anything could happen. Anything could happen with this team. You know, we shall see how Derrick Rose injury affects this team. They also got to be an adjustment period on that. When is McBride coming back? And another bold prediction: don't be surprised if Damion Johnson sticks around now that the injury, they're going to need perimeter help and he provides that. So maybe it wasn't a cup of coffee for him.
Yeah. You'd like to see him. I mean, he's more of a capable 3-and-D basketball player than Wayne Selden. No offense to Wayne Selden. You know, I love that he got in. Love that he made a few shots. Had a good run there last game. But you know, you'd love to see a guy like Damion Dotson. They called him whole team Dot for a reason. He's good for chemistry, good for the locker room to have that spot. I would have no problems with him being the 15th man on my team.
Absolutely. With that said, guys, I want to thank everyone this evening. G Money for joining me here. Uncle Fulio for being in the chat. A to Z Media, please check them out. A to Z Media. We'll be dropping a Big Ten Michigan tomorrow morning. Give us a take, an insight of when we'll be recording this, my friend.
So at A to Z Media Network is where you can find me. I'm of course, you know, I'm here all the time. We're related in channel wise to Kevin, ROSTORS Network. You can find me on Twitter, A to Z Media, at A to Z Media Net. So tomorrow, my Michigan Wolverines are playing New Year's Eve against Georgia. Biggest game in Michigan in a long time. And we're going to do a pregame really just breaking down what we're going to hopefully see from both teams and what we think we're going to see. So G Money would love to have you, you know, check that out. If you like football at all, check it out. Rock in the chat with us, everybody here. If you'd love to subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss a thing from us too. Appreciate it. But probably I get off around 10. So hopefully around lunchtime, you'll see us doing something and it's going to be fun.
All right. And guys, don't forget to follow us on our audio platforms. We're it's so many different audio. Wherever you get your audio podcasts, just hit search BXPortsJedi Network. It'll be up there. You know, find us in Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor FM, Reason FM, you know, Radio FM, anywhere there's a podcast platform, you could save your battery. This program will be on there immediately after following. As soon as we end the broadcast, it will be available for those that want to listen to on the rewind at work, and also follow. You know, if you agree or disagree, you know, you could email us on BXPortsJedi 76@gmail.com or anywhere here in our comment section. We appreciate all the feedback. We enjoy listening and trying to always strive to be an excellent program. You know, we're doing it little by little every day to excel and continue to be better and strive for excellence, you know, and we that's what we try to do, be different from everyone else, but also try to be excellent at it. And we cannot do it without the support of the chat, the support of the subscribers, and the support of the likes. And we appreciate, thank you, Philippines, again, for all the viewership that you give the program. Everyone in the chat, thank you, Maria. Thank you, Johnny Davis, Mr. Johnny Davis, Henry Glenn, Alex Coquito, Marlon Johnson from Jamaica, Ethan. I appreciate seeing you here. I hope we see you more often, and hope you subscribe and join us. You know, I love your, you know, that was a good conversation piece that you brought up there. Thank you, Johnny Timon. I hope that bear does
Big
not
Bear.
come near you. Big Bear, Johnny Timon. Dan Jones, we appreciate you. The Smoky Nick was in the building. Salute to Smoky Nick. Check out his platform with Smoky Nicks. Isaac Gaming, Jerome Peralta in the Philippines. Thank you so much. Of course, you know, Kelvin T. Jones, our mod cop in here, our main man. Yes, indeed. Josh, Uncle Fulio, we thank you so much for stopping by and blessing the program with your presence. And thank you guys for don't forget, tomorrow night we have the watch along. The Knicks take on the Wizards from the world's most famous arena. We'll have the live watch along, play by play. Maybe Chef Dan will be in the building. You know, I know Chef Dan is on his way home from work as well. So salute to Chef Dan on that subway ride. Hopefully he's listening and watching, and we'll salute to you. He's got a good program in MMA coming up tomorrow with Austin. Tomorrow night, there's going to be a real good program breakdown of the fights between the Woodley Paul fight as well as UFC 45. You know, it was a real good card with Derek Lewis and so forth. Also, we have some special UFC question and answers with two profile UFC fighter, one fighter profilers from the UFC. It's a short question and answer that they provided for the Jedi Network. Will be on, so tune in to see who it is. It's trust me, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be two. Thank you. They appreciate for them to giving me their time. It's a short question and answer, so they were able to grace us with that. We appreciate it, guys. Again, have a happy holiday. Follow us on there. We want to build our audio platform as well. So we appreciate you guys listening. Share this content. Let folks that like sports that would appreciate it be part of it, part of the Jedi family. And guys, have a happy holidays. We'll see you tomorrow night and have a blessed evening. Get some rest, and let's get right back at it.